Right, so I'm gonna have a talk real briefly on the Liteplacer. So I picked one of these things up. It's probably going on a month, and so this is what it looks like. I've got mine assembled and on a table, and well, actually, the whole table's devoted to it. This image really doesn't really do a very good job of conveying the scale of the machine. It's well over a meter wide and definitely a meter deep, so it's probably maybe 4 foot by 3 foot from my Imperial friends. It's it occupies a fairly large area, but seeing as I haven't done a public video in a while, I mean, probably got 150 unlisted ones, but I'll make this one public. What the hell? So that said, quality of life improvements, just some issues that I came across when I was assembling it and configuring it and tweaking and adjusting the light placer. Um, One of the things that I found out was that this step, uh, there's not enough emphasis on this step. This step is really really important, um, because if you don't do this, and when I was assembling it, I don't remember if I did. I probably didn't, and this is probably why I came into this problem that I had with it. So a little bit of an explanation as to what I had happen here. So on this is what it looks like, or at least the best view I think I could find with relation to this. So it says here to loosen the 4 screws that attach the long maker slides. So these guys that are running across the x-axis here and the gantry that the gantry slides across these. Um, that's actually two pieces of extruded aluminum, and they're not connected to each other except at the ends. So what I suspect is happening is one of them might be a little bit higher than the other, and it causes you to have a sort of tilt um, on the nozzle. So what I was finding out is you go pick up a part and come back with it, and it seemed like it was just off. Um, I really couldn't explain it, couldn't really work it out. Taking things apart, looking through the instructions again, basically going over step by step, and saw that and it's just I don't remember doing that. So my suggestion would be is if you see this and you happen to get a light placer, is when it says to attach the X motor, don't do that. At least not yet. Leave it aside. Put the idlers on, but don't put the X motor on, because you have to take the X motor off to get at these screws that you could barely see in the picture here. There's 4 of them, and there's 4 on that side as well. Um, you have to take the motor off to get at those screws, so just don't put it on. When you get to this particular point, um, you might as well go ahead and put it on at that point. But because you have to take it off to get to them, and then do what it says. You slide the gantry to one end, tighten them up. Slide it to the other end, tighten them up. In my case, there's a ever so tiny little bow in these guys. I'd need a very fine feeler gauge to stick down between them, but it's very very small. Once I did that, everything actually came good. So um, that was one issue. Second issue I ran into was with regards to the movement along the y-axis. Um, I started having problems with it picking up parts, um, like over here in the corner. It pick up a part and bring it over here from one corner to the other. It just be off randomly, and I really just didn't understand what was going on. I thought maybe it was optics with the cameras. It just calibrating, and I find out that when I would go pick up parts along the X only, I didn't have an issue. So I knew it had something to do with the movement of Y. And it turned out that what had happened to me, again, this is you drop the hammer on your bloody foot. There's a this drive shaft that runs along the back for the Y, and it's got the toothed belt that runs. It's not shown here in the image, and there's the tooth belt that runs, front to back and attaches to the frame here. And the pulley for the tooth belt over here, it sort of come loose a little bit, so it started slipping. And I found that out because the motors were on. And I pushed on started wiggling and pushing on things, and this side moved and this side didn't. And that's when it sort of hit me. This thing's moving around, and it shouldn't be. And it was this pulley slipping. It started to slip. I just probably didn't tighten it up enough. So that was another gotcha. So if you have problems with that, that's you got to make sure this is all tight and the belt tension between for each side is good and everything. The way I did the belt tension on the Y is you get the aluminium extrusion for the front. That's not depicted here. This is a better picture of it. Actually, you see he doesn't have it in the front of this, but you get this piece of aluminium for the front to help. I guess when you're putting the machine down on the table, because he suggests you remove it, and he clearly removed it on his machine. Um, and I used that to go across the belts, and then I put a level across the piece of aluminium. So it sat on the belts and the level in the middle, and I just adjusted the tension on each side until I got it level. And I thought that worked quite well as far as getting the tension on each side even. So um, machine is working flawlessly now. Other improvements. So you have we've got a gentleman named Pat Deegan who put together these Easy Connect boards. Absolutely brilliant idea. Um, this is definitely a worthwhile quality of life improvement. So you have the Tiny G board that comes with a Liteplacer, and it is his channel, incidentally, if you want to check him out. Um, and so there's the Tiny G, and he has the boards that attach to each side to make all the connections. They go into some IDC cables, and then they run up to a board that's up with the machine, and then all your connections to the machine, which there's obviously you can see is sort of a plethora of them because you have four-stepper motors and solenoid and a pump and all switches, the limit switches. So this is a fantastic quality of life improvement. Helps you get it wired. He's got the one of the boards right here has the MOSFETs and the snubbers and such, and it has these jumpers to flip I believe it's the Z-axis has to be flipped around if you're going to use OpenPNP. So you just move the shunts and it flips the Z-axis around. So you know he's made it all open, and it's just really great quality of life improvement. Um, so you go check Pat out and give him a 10 thumbs up for his improvement here because it's absolutely brilliant. Other improvements that I plan on making to the machine, cameras. So the cameras that are shown here, not the cameras that comes with now. They're the little like little like maybe $7 US cameras. They do 1280 by 1024 at 7 frames per second, I believe. And they work okay. Um, but I don't know. The optics I think are a little dodgy. So I really sort of work out better cameras for it. They work fine. Otherwise, no worries. I just think that we could probably do a little bit better with some cameras and some better optics for this, for the both the down-looking and the up-looking cameras. Um, there is also a chap and his company that has a 3D model for the cable chains for support for the ends. Um, that's also a great quality of life improvement. I can't remember where I got it from, but you probably dig around and you'll find. In fact, I got it linked from the OpenPNP wiki. So if you look around in the OpenPNP stuff, you probably find the 3D file for the three for to 3D print some supports for the cable chains. Last but not least, I started working on this application for the machine, which is sitting here in the background, and because I mean the original software worked, but I sort of wanted to dabble around with something, because it had some quirks. And this, believe it or not, actually does a lot. Um, I had probably written half of the bloody thing before I realized it. This is like maybe, I don't know, a day of working on this. So this will actually connect to the machine and do its stuff, and it will home the machine, um, which is behind me, and there it goes homing away, and doing its thing. Um, it's actually on at the moment, and it obviously sends all of the necessary stuff to home the machine. And I even started working on some of the image pipeline stuff. Um, so I've got a camera attached to the machine, and it's just pointing at a dot on the table. So I actually have, like, it looks for circles, and I've done a fair bit of stuff with this, and I'm actually wondering if I should continue with this or not. I don't really know what I want to do. Um, I'm actually not using AForge for this. I'm actually using the what is it, MGU, which is actually what is it called? Um, it's another sort of machine learning imaging framework. This is just a wrapper for I think it's OpenCV. Um, it's just a wrapper for it. So yeah, I mean, I've got some image pipeline stuff working. Like I can, zoom and stuff, but the circle algorithm doesn't take zooming into account. There's lots of things that just need to be done with it. But I actually done a fair bit of it, so I might keep at this and just sort of see where it goes, like thresholds and stuff work. Um, it homes the machine, but it doesn't do any optical homing. The original software clearly would do the optical homing. Like it's kind of having a hard time with it, but it needs needs still a lot of work. But I've got, like, all of this stuff. Pretty much a lot of this is really implemented already. So this is the data from the machine. I can, change and fiddle around with things and so on and so forth. Um, the pump works, and the solenoid, it sends those commands. That all works, and it times out properly. So it'll recognize if the machine needs to be home. The button will turn red. So, like, if I you know stopped it and started again, of course it says, they see it's red back there. Like, if I don't connect to the machine, and you know obviously it's not connected to this machine, and I'd have to, I think on this system, I think it's 13, and go ahead and connect the machine, um, and then let it do its thing, and it talks to it, and then of course it wants to home. It's the same things that the original stuff does. So of course there it goes homing it again. But this is just mechanical homing. It's not doing any optics. So I don't know. I might keep at it and see where I go with this, but I don't know. The original stuff works, and I'll probably play with OpenPNP, and I'll probably forget all about this. But maybe I'll just throw this whole thing up on GitHub and move on with life. And so yeah, that's what I've been up to with the Liteplacer. It's a good COVID project. So whilst I'm sort of in the States, I figured I would muck about with something. Anyways, cheers, fellas.